Christian music today has a glaring problem, and too many Christian bands and artists keep feeding into it. Christian music is supposed to reach people and glorify God, but too many times the songs either just aren't quite right, or they're bad, or the worst offense, they're cheesy. I'm Brandon with Megatonic Audio, and today I'm going to talk to you about 2 things that you can use to make sure that your music glorifies God with greatness and with confidence. So let's get into it. The first problem I see with Christian music is that thing that makes you think when you hear a Christian song or when you create one yourself that something's just not quite right, or it doesn't really stand out as great to the glory of God, or like I said earlier, it just sounds really cheesy, right? And that is the dreaded thing. You never want that to be your music, or even in any type of art as a Christian. You never want to make something with the bearing the name of the Lord and then it ends up being cheesy, right? We've all seen that. We've all seen that in commercial releases of movies, music, you name it. Not just music that we've made ourselves that just didn't quite hit right. And in music in particular, that hang up where the listener thinks something's not quite right with the song or it's just cheesy or bad is because there's a mismatch in between what is being presented and the way it's being presented. So number 1, we've got a style mismatch. That means basically, let's say you're a Christian rock artist and you make a song that's in a minor key and it just sounds, aggressive in tone. And when it's in a minor key, it's going to come off as more of an angry song. But then you're like, Jesus is awesome. He's so cool. Well, then there's a disconnect. There's a mismatch because the style you're doing, not that you can't make a Christian rock song or have a rock song in minor or sound like Mastodon but Christian, but you have to make sure that what you're saying in the song fits the way you're saying it. That's the biggest thing that makes people sound cheesy is when they do that wrong, right? Like just the example I just gave off the top of my head, that sounded cheesy. That would be bad, right? So if you're going to write a song that sounds like that, then the words shouldn't be about how Jesus is cool. Number 1, Jesus didn't come here to show you how to be cool, right? He's far above that. But you should make it about something in the Christian faith. If you're a Christian band exclusively and explicitly, you should make it about, well, what in the Christian lifestyle can give you anger, righteous anger, right? There's a lot of things that can apply to that. And then instead of coming off as cheesy, it's probably going to stick with the listener better. It's probably going to hit home with them, especially if they know exactly what you're talking about. But even if they don't, they'll get what you're saying because your tone, your style that you were performing the song in matches what you're saying. And it's not going to come off as cheesy that way. Trust me, it won't. But that's how you're going to stick with people. If you're going to be, let's say, a really hard rock band in the Christian genre, but you're like, man, I've heard so many try that are just cheesy or they're just bad in general. If you're going to have a gritty, aggressive tone in some sort of hard rock sound, there's plenty you can write about from a Christian point of view that is agonizing. Just like in secular music, listen to 9 Inch Nails. A lot of that is about dealing with stuff that is tormenting to us, and it fits the sound. So why don't you, if you're one of those bands, sing about real struggles, the real persecution that takes place? Bring awareness to things that are going on in the world that a lot of Americans don't even know about, like the crisis in Nigeria with Christians being killed all the time. Anything, so many things, even here, there's so many problems that Christians face here that people will really, it'll hit home with them personally, and they'll be like, man, yeah, it's not all roses when you decide to become a Christian. That's the Bible never says it is. In fact, it says that the world's going to give you trouble, but to take heart because he has overcome the world. Now, the next thing really matters and ties into a little bit of what I just said about what you're singing about. And when you know what you're singing about and you know what style it's in, you've got to mean what you're singing about. You've got to mean it. Some songs, especially commercial songs that you've heard Christian artists come out with, sometimes they just fall a little flat. They seem a little too made for commercial use, and they don't seem like, or they don't feel like, and this is subjective. It doesn't mean that they don't mean what they were writing or performing, but sometimes it just feels like they weren't fully in it, right? It just, like I said, a song just made for commercial purposes. But to avoid that, you need to write your songs around things that you really mean. And anyone, especially once you're into adulthood, and whether you're new to being a Christian or you were raised a Christian, but life is starting to change and it's starting to make you ask questions. It's starting to make you dig deeper, and really, when you really start to have to wrestle with your faith, the real battle begins there. Sing about that stuff, because that stuff, I mean, those are the things that tug hardest on our heartstrings. And, we're looking to find answers for something, or we're just struggling because it's hard in this area or that area of your Christian life. So if you're trying to mean something, if you have experience with any of that I just said, then sing about that. Because when you mean it, it is going to stick with people. And to tie it all together, when you've, tied together the right feeling and the style, the tone, the key, all of that to what you're saying, and you mean what you say, you've got a great Christian song that is going to stick with somebody, and that spreads like wildfire. You may not get famous, but it is going to either light a fire in somebody's head or heart, to sound more cliche. And they may likely share that with somebody else, and it's going to mean something to them, right? You want these songs to mean something. It sticks with people longer. And this is for the glory of God, right? You're not doing it just to, get famous. Yeah, you might want to make a living, and that's fine. There's ways to do that. Different avenues you can take with your music. There's nothing wrong with that. But you want Christian music as a Christian artist to spread the word of Christ and to resonate with others, showing the glory of God, and also, like I said, with songs about struggle, showing that other people struggling with their faith, they're not alone, and that the struggles are real. Or even other things like showing the bright side through the struggle, or seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Keeping faith through a struggle, more of a positive style of a song rather than a like Lamentations or something, right? If you got music that is just positively worshiping God in a happy way, a joyful way, making a joyful noise, will make it sound joyful. Pair the right style and sound to what you're saying to glorify God. All of that is going to resonate with people, and you want those people to be able to look to biblical truths, make sure you're keeping everything biblical, and point to God, which the biblical truths, they all point to God, right? So you want to glorify God and let people know that they're not alone in their struggles. That does a lot more than you think for somebody, and that music is just going to stick out as great Christian music. And if you want help with your Christian music and you want it to hit hard like I'm talking right now, and you're looking for the right producer for the job, that's me. I'm your guy. Click the link in the description below to contact me and fill out a short questionnaire so I can see what you're working on and to see if we're a good fit. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It's all free to you, and it helps me get to more people like you about topics like this. It's going to help me grow this channel. That's what I'm trying to do, to reach more people like you and help with all your music production needs here on YouTube. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hearing me out on this subject, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks.